$1,000. Well, less than $1,000. Is it even possible? And I know your first question is this a scam? And I know that because I've called a lot of you. And the first question is it a scam? No, it's not a scam. This is a real client. This is not an AI bot. This really happened in California. We were able to get a purchase on a property with less than $1,000 out of pocket. And so, what does that mean? There's a lot of upfront costs when it comes to buying a home. You're talking about down payment, you're talking about closing costs, and you're talking about appraisal and inspection. And I've been able to eliminate most of that. And so my name is Daniel Smith. I've been a realtor for about 5 years. And what I realized in the beginning of my journey is that most of our people can't afford to buy a home. It just costs too much. It's really like 50, 60, $70,000 out of pocket. And we just don't have it. And it's understandable. Like, who has $50,000? And so what I was able to do is I worked with a client that referred another client, and she happened to be blind and on a fixed income, and she didn't have any money. And I was like, how can we make this happen? And so we obviously repaired her with down payment assistance, covered her down payment, but the other big cost is closing costs, and that can be somewhere between $10,000 and $25,000. And so I was able to negotiate for the seller to cover that closing cost for her. I was able to have them cover her inspection costs, and then we got her a little grant for her appraisal. And so she spent $162 out of pocket. And when I was able to do that, I felt like I hit the gold mine. And I was like, this is how I'm able to help our people. And so I took that method and I ran with it. And I helped a lot of people. And because that's what's really holding us back is either we feel like we don't have the credit or we feel like we don't have the money to be able to purchase. Because if you're paying rent now, then most likely you qualify to be able to afford a mortgage. If we're talking about rent on average for a two-bedroom is maybe $2,500. That's a lot of money. I mean, that's like $30,000 a year. And that $30,000 you're giving to somebody else's mortgage. And so what we want to do is take that same 30,000 or whatever it is and apply it to your wealth. And so I'm going to walk you through how I get this done. And if you stay to the end of the video, I do have something special for you if $1,000 is not a good enough reason. Let's talk about the benefits of owning a home. And we're going to talk about that same $30,000. So let's say we look at a property that is $600,000 and then you're paying $2,500 a month. That's $30,000. That brings it down to $570 over a year's period. Also, what happens when you own a home is appreciation. So in California, houses appreciate anywhere between 5 and 10%, but let's take the low end of 5%. And so that on that same $600,000 property, that's another $30,000. So you combine the $30,000 you spend and the $30,000 from appreciation, and that's $60,000. And that's what's called equity. It's the difference between what you owe on your property and what your property is worth. And so that $60,000 in a year is like an income. Think about how much you make now, and your property is going to be making money for you as well. And so this is how you build wealth, because over the years, this money is compounded, and then you can use that equity to do other things in real estate. And so my suggestion would be obviously to either get an income property or just move up to a better property. And you'll be able to use that equity as large down payment to keep your monthly payment low, or whatever the case may be. But that is a benefit of home ownership. So stop wasting your money giving it to somebody else's lifestyle. Because if you think about the property that you're in now, that $30,000 a year that you're giving them is either paying their mortgage off, or just imagine if their mortgage is already paid off and they're using it to live their lifestyle. And imagine how many units that are in your apartment building, or if you're in a house, either way. All that money is going towards somebody else's bottom line. And so the goal here is to have that money go to your bottom line. And so that's the benefit. And so let's talk about what it costs to actually buy a home, because there is the down payment, there is the closing cost, there's the appraisal, and there's the inspection. And so my goal is to eliminate 3 out of those 4 things. And so I didn't create down payment assistance programs. They're out there. There's grants out there that cover 100% of your down payment. So a big misconception is what down payment is. And so the minimum down payment right now is somewhere between 3 and 3.5%. So if we take that same $600,000 property, you're looking somewhere between $18,000 and $23,000. And so if you have that, great, because you may get a better rate and which may equate to a better monthly payment. But if you don't have $20,000 in the bank, then down payment assistance will cover that without you having to pay it back. Those programs are available to anyone in California. We will talk about the qualifications for that. That is the first cost in buying a home. The second is going to be the closing cost. The closing cost can range between $10,000 and $25,000 in my experience, and it incorporates a lot of different things. So it's not a set amount. And so what I've been able to do for 90% of my clients is negotiate for the seller to pay that closing cost. And that closing cost can include the inspection fee as well, which is around $500 or so. So if we're able to cover your down payment and cover your closing costs and inspection costs, then your only real out-of-pocket cost is your appraisal. And your appraisal can run you between $600 and $800, depending on the property. The first step is going to be getting qualified. And so by getting qualified, there'll be a link somewhere here for you to click. And that link, there'll be two options. One is for the really motivated people to start your application. And the other option is if you don't want to start your application and you have more questions, then you can set an appointment with one of my partners and they can help you get qualified. The reason why I'm making this video is because my social media posts get a lot of attention, and there's a lot of people that are very interested in being able to buy their first home with not a lot of money out of pocket. As you see, I wrote a book. The book there is available to you for free as well. It's How to Buy a House with $10,000 or less. And sometimes it does range. Sometimes it's not $1,000. Sometimes it's $5,000. It really depends on your personal financial situation. If we can get you qualified, then we can see how we can work a program specifically for you. But I will say this, I cannot call everybody. I tried. I even tried to hire some virtual assistants from the Philippines, but you're not going to talk to them. So I'm going to make it easy for you, and you can just start your application. And that way I know you're super motivated. And if you do have questions, like I said, you can click the link and make an appointment. But I can't call everybody. I can speak to you when I know that you're motivated and you're ready to go. And by that, I'll get a call and say, hey, this person is ready. This person is qualified, and this is the qualification amount. And then we can go to the next step of looking for a property for you. So let's talk about qualifications. So there's a lot of misconceptions about credit and income and money that's needed. So the minimum credit score, just to debunk it right now, is 580. So 580 will qualify you to purchase a home. It'll also qualify you for a down payment assistance program. So if you're anywhere above 580, I'm willing to work with you. If you're close to 580 and you need some assistance getting over that threshold, then click the link to make an appointment to speak to one of my partners, and they might be able to guide you on some quick steps to get you to the next level to be able to qualify to purchase a home. The next step is you have to have 2 years work history, and it has to be provable. I mean, I can't work with hearsay. So, I want to be very clear that you have to be able to prove that you have income, and it has to be for at least 2 years. And the next thing is actual income. There is no minimum income requirements, but we are in California and the prices are fairly expensive. So I'm not saying that you need to be in the top 1% or anything like that. What I am saying is that you may need to combine your income with a partner or a child or a parent or a sibling or whoever is willing to go on that loan for you to help you start to build wealth and equity for your family. Okay. So like I said, the first step is to get qualified so that I can help you. And then after we do have your qualification, we'll have an amount that we can shop for. So we'll start our search online, and so for special circumstances, I'll find you an off-market property. But we do need to have a seller that is willing to negotiate, and I'm good at doing that part, so that's my job. So I'll get you the deal. I'll make sure that you're not overpaying for your property. I'm making sure you're getting value, and I'm making sure that they work within our financial terms. And that's the biggest thing in this program, is that most agents want you to come in with $50,000. For me, I'm going to work with what you have, and we're going to find a property that fits your needs, that's in your budget, and that the agent and the seller will work on our terms. That's part of the negotiation. I have a background in sales. I've been top 1% in the nation in different Fortune 500 companies. And I do have a skill that I can use to be able to get you in a property that works for you. Once we find the property, we're in the game. We go through escrow. It's very important that we have the inspection. The inspection is a very important thing because we have to make sure that the property is of good value and is a property that we deem worthy of moving forward. And then after that, the appraisal. The appraisal comes in and it says this property is worth what we are offering on it, because you can't get a loan for a property that is not worth what we're putting in an offer for. The total out-of-pocket cost for you, if all stars align, is maybe $800. Who wouldn't buy a house? I mean, that's less than a down payment for an apartment. As a matter of fact, you know what? I'll give you $1,000. How about that? If you close on a property, on your first property with me, I'll give you $1,000. If you get qualified within the summer of 2025, then I will give you $1,000 at closing. And that way, there's no reason for you financially to not want to move into your first property, because you don't have to pay anything. Now, I'm not guaranteeing that I can get you into a property under $1,000, because everybody's financial situation is different and everybody's qualification is different. But I will work my hardest to be able to do that for you. And I've done it plenty of times. $162 is proof. And obviously you've seen this video of the young lady that close on her property under $1,000. I don't put everybody on video, but trust me, if you want the proof, then you can make your own video once you close with less than $1,000. So that's it, man. Click the link below and get your application completed, or set up an appointment with a partner so that you can talk a little bit more about it. And let me end this video before I start giving away cars.